Let's talk about something we've all obsessed over at some point, time travel. But forget what you've seen in the movies. We're going to dive into some real, baffling events that suggest time is way more mysterious and maybe a lot more flexible than we've ever been led to believe.
So, what if our whole understanding of reality is kind of wrong? This question gets right to the heart of it. Is time this single river just flowing in one direction forever? Or is it more like a tangled mess of branching paths, where every single choice we make creates a whole new world?
All right, first up, let's get into the glitches. These totally bizarre, unexplainable moments where it really feels like the past has literally just bled into the present. These are the stories that leave people stunned, and they're not so easy to just brush off.
Picture this. It's 1950, the middle of a bustling street in New York City, and out of absolutely nowhere, a man appears looking completely lost and confused, wearing clothes that are about 75 years out of date. His name was Rudolph Fentz, and his story is a legend in the world of accidental time travel.
And when the authorities looked into it, things got even weirder. I mean, his pockets were filled with stuff that was perfectly normal for the year 1876. He had old currency, business cards, even a letter, all pointing to a life that he was, apparently, just plucked from moments before.
So what happened there? Was he just caught in some kind of natural time warp, a glitch in the system? His story brings up a really chilling idea. What if people are slipping through time by accident? Just lost and totally alone in the wrong century.
And get this, Fentz's case isn't a one-off. There's the story of the man from Taured who showed up at a Tokyo airport with a perfectly valid passport from a country that doesn't exist. Or the two professors who walked into a garden at Versailles and suddenly found themselves in the 18th century court of Marie Antoinette. And maybe the weirdest of all, a guy who claims he crawled under his sink to fix a pipe and met his older self. These aren't just ghost stories, they're documented glitches in our reality.
Okay, these stories are absolutely wild, right? But they all lead to one massive question. How? How could any of this possibly work? And to even try to answer that, we have to jump from these strange stories into the seriously mind-bending world of theoretical physics.
So you've got two main ideas here. On one side, you have proven science. Einstein's theory of relativity tells us time isn't some constant thing. It actually slows down the faster you move. And we have a real-world example. Cosmonaut Sergei Krikalev spent over 800 days in space, and when he came back to Earth, he had aged 0.02 seconds less than the rest of us. He literally, scientifically, traveled into our future. But then there's quantum theory and the many worlds idea. This suggests that every time a choice is made, the universe splits, creating parallel timelines. So maybe the man from Taured wasn't from our past. Maybe he was from a different reality altogether.
Then there's this incredible concept, the Chronovisor. The idea here isn't about traveling through time, but about viewing it. A monk claimed he built a machine that could tune into the past like you'd tune into a radio station, picking up these echoes of history. You know, this could totally explain those time slips, right? Maybe those women at Versailles didn't travel back in time, but just accidentally tuned into a frequency where the 18th century was still playing out.
But here's a thought. What if these events aren't random glitches? What if they're not overlapping frequencies? What if someone is actually pulling the strings? And that, my friends, takes us into the shadowy world of secrets and conspiracies, where time travel isn't a theory, it's a weapon.
Just take a look at this number. $350 million. Back in 2003, a guy named Andrew Carlson got arrested because he somehow managed to turn just $800 into that staggering amount of money in only 2 weeks.
And his explanation? Get this. He said it was simple. He was from the year 2256. He argued he wasn't an insider trader. He just knew what was going to happen. And then, after he supposedly offered to spill secrets for his freedom, he vanished. Poof, gone from custody. All records of him erased. It's like he never existed.
And Carlson's story, as wild as it sounds, fits into a bigger puzzle. This quote is from a man who went by John Titor, who popped up online around the year 2000, claiming he was a soldier from the future, from 2036. He was dead serious that the US government had this kind of tech for decades and kept it top secret.
And people who claim to be in the know, they point to specific secret projects. You've got the Philadelphia experiment back in 1943, where they tried to make a Navy ship invisible and supposedly ripped a hole in space-time. Then there's the Montauk Project, which supposedly weaponized psychic powers for time travel. When you put it all together, these stories paint a picture of a secret history, where governments have been meddling with time for almost 100 years. But okay, let's just say for a second that any of this is true. We have to ask, what are the consequences? This leads us to the biggest, most profound part of this whole thing, the incredible danger of messing with the past.
You know where this is going, right? It all comes down to the butterfly effect. The idea that one tiny little change, like stepping on a bug millions of years ago, could ripple through time and create a future that you don't even recognize. Even John Titor warned that trying to fix the past could easily make everything a whole lot worse.
And this is the ultimate ethical question. I mean, even if we had this power, do we have the wisdom to use it? Who gets to decide which mistakes get erased? Which disasters get prevented? Who gets to play God with history?
The risks are just staggering. You've got the obvious stuff like greed, messing with the stock market for personal gain. But then there's the more sinister side, like using a chronovisor to literally rewrite history books. But the most terrifying thought? What if time fights back? What if the people who mess with the past don't just fail? What if they are just completely erased from existence?
So I'll leave you with this one last and honestly pretty unsettling thought. If someone, somewhere, has already done it, if the reality we're living in right now isn't the original one, but a rewrite, how in the world would any of us ever know?